I do not know why that, I don't know why that did that to me today, but
It's saying it's live streaming now.
yeah. Yeah. I do not know why that, there we go. Okay. So back over here, there we go. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share this.
We left off at 14.
Right. 14, there we go. And you're the student today, so
Okay.
you're the one's going to have to do the work. I just get to sit here
All
and
right.
sleep.
I'll take it. And I'll be the one to be corrected too. That's fine.
Okay.
All right. So number 14. It's Esometa, soon auto, and te basileia autu. So rough translation is we will be with him in the kingdom his. So we will be with him in his kingdom is the final translation I have.
Okay, good.
All right, so 14a says dissect and parse esometa. It's a part of speech, is the verb, the state of being verb. It's a future tense, has no voice. And the mood is indicative. That's stem is epsilon. Person first, plural number. Lexical form is aimi. Ending is ometa. Connected vowel is epsilon. Subject we. And the tense sign is the sigma sign.
Okay, what is the connecting vowel?
I put, no, I guess I'm wrong in that, right? Well, I put epsilon. Is the someta would be the end, wouldn't it?
So that the connecting vowel is the omicron.
Oh, the omicron, right? Okay, I
Yeah.
wrote that down wrong, and I got that wrong. Omicron.
Mhm.
Okay. Because I thought the S in front of that, because the future sign of the sigma is in front of that. It's still the connecting vowel.
Yeah, the connecting vowel. You have your stem. You have your you have your sign of the
Future sign. Okay.
sign of the future. Then you have your connecting vowel. Then you have your ending.
So you never put the sign before. I mean, the connective vowel wouldn't be following the or before the sign then ever on that.
That's right. It's going to follow that because it's going to connect the sign with your ending.
Okay, I wasn't sure about that. Right. B is soon followed by a dative, locative, or instrumental. And I put locative. Could this preposition be properly translated any other way than previously stated? Case. So I said no. Dative is to him. Okay. It could be possibly instrumental because of him. You know, possibly.
Mm-hmm. But what other cue in that sentence tells you that locative makes more sense?
Because let me look here. I think back. Because of the N, the preposition.
But there, yeah, there you go.
Right?
Yeah, well, it's soon with him. Yeah, in the kingdom. Because in is really indicating we're with him, and then in again is talking about location. I do think that's kind of a clue.
Right. So dative would be to him and instrumental would be because of him, but I think it's locative. That's why I think.
Yeah. And the other way I handle the dative a lot of times is for him. So we'd be soon doesn't fit really well with for him or to him. It really talks about being in that same vicinity. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
All right.
Let's see.
Basileia, located. Okay, so part of speech, it's a noun. Case locative, singular. Function in a sentence is the indirect object. It's a feminine gender. Lexical form is basileia, or the first declension.
Okay, and what did you say the gender was? I think I missed that.
I put feminine.
Okay, yeah, good.
All right. So number 15, we move on. I poneros al esse agathos. Say you, singular, are evil, but you, singular, will be good.
Mhm.
That's it.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. In what use is poneros in reference to I? I put it's an adjective in the predicative use.
Okay, very good.
What about agathos in reference to esse? Same predicative use.
Yes,
Same. Right?
very good.
Explain the significance of these uses. Both make the assertion of the state of being the singular you is in presently and will be in the future.
Very good.
What type of a conjunction is al? It's a coordinating conjunction.
That's right.
What is the significance of this type of conjunction? This connects two independent clauses equal grammatical elements. Those are the independent clauses, the equal grammatical clauses or elements.
Correct. Good
And
job.
why does liaison occur with the form Allah? It's the I can't even remember writing. The word essay begins with a vowel, so that following that, the last vowel is dropped on the preposition.
Okay. It's not a huge deal because we don't speak this Greek particularly when we read it, but normally Allah would have an accent on the final alpha, but that's dropped, and so you're kind of pronouncing al essay together. And I don't know how exactly that happens in Greek, except I always think of like when you listen to Spanish speaking people, how fast they speak and they put things together, and there's certain words that they kind of run together.
Yeah.
Kind of as the way they speak. And so Greeks, I think, would have done that same thing. This is
what would probably be pronounced together alese.
Alese, yeah.
Okay.
Right. Exactly. So
Alese.
but very good. You answered the question well. They didn't ask you about the accent on it. So
compare and contrast I and esse. Am I saying that right? Esse?
Yes, esse. Yep.
As much as possible. Compare and contrast. Okay, both are the state of being verb aime in the singular second person, though I is the present and esse is in the future tense. That's the contrast. The comparison is that they're both singular second person.
Okay. So here's a question for you, see if you can answer. When you have essay, that ending, you already told us it's second person singular. But why do we have a there? Why don't we remember if you what happens in the future tense with I me? What kind of endings does it take?
On the aime?
Yeah.
On the future tense?
Yeah.
It has the AI ending, right? But SA is the A.
Right.
I don't know what you're getting at. So
well,
sure.
if what we'd normally have is A is the second one. And so normally if we were to have a declension where A is the second person singular, we would have my a tie or my
Tie.
psi tie. And so this is, so my psi tie or my a tie is what kind of voice is that?
Isn't that a well, there's supposed to be no voice in the IME, right?
Exactly. But what would that voice be?
Like a middle.
It would be a middle, but there is no middle or passive with IME.
Right.
But in the future tense, the future form of IME, they take the middle passive endings.
Ah.
Even though there's not a middle passive voice.
Oh yeah, right. That's correct. So the present IME has no middle passive, but in the future it has the middle form.
Right. So
Right.
you answered the question correctly. I just was going to ask to, because sometimes coming across, when you come across those in the future tense, they kind of throw us because we're looking, oh, that's like a middle passive ending. What?
So
And then we have to remember, oh, I mean in the future.
Middle form in future. Just want to say that. Okay. Cool. All right.
16.
So 16. Idu gar e basilea to Theo entos humon esteem. That's from Luke 17:21. So in the rough, behold, for the kingdom of God within your it is. So for behold, the kingdom of God is within you, plural, all, or you all.
Mm-hmm.
Right? What is unusual about the position of gar in the sentence? Okay, it takes a post positive, which means it's translated as the first word.
Okay. But when we write it, we actually put it
In the
second, or sometimes third if we have a word with a definite article.
Right.
So then Cox has this long description in here that Harold Moulton, classified entos as an adverb, and Walter Bauer confirmed the adverbial form. He also listed entos as a preposition followed by a genitive, as we have here. So according to William Chamberlain, these are all grammarians, just to be clear on this. According to William Chamberlain, adverbs may stand in the predicate use with I me. Since prepositions are adverbial in nature, it would be appropriate for entos to take on characteristics of both an adverb and a preposition. And if the predicate nominative precedes the to be verb, it is stressed, the kingdom of God is among you. And you translated it, the kingdom of God is, how'd you say it in your translation?
Within you.
Yeah, the idea of entos. And they're using among, they're using that which would work, probably because when they're talking, what Jesus is talking about is the kingdom of God is in your midst. In other words, when he's talking to these people, he's not saying the kingdom of God's inside you, which is kind of where liberal theologians went. He's rather saying it's in your midst because the king's standing right here talking to you and doing these miracles and doing this stuff. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What he's talking about? Okay. You already read through that, but for the sake of those that are following along, I thought we better read through that. So.
Okay.
Oh, I need to, and I hear I'm behind again on this. Okay. So we're talking about that word right there, entos, and that they translate within, just for clarity. I apologize to anybody that's following along. Okay, number C. Go ahead, Joe.
Okay, parse esteem. Once again, it's a part of the speech. It's a state of being verb. Subject is it in the plural. Stem is epsilon. Present tense.
Okay, just a second. So the subject is what?
I put it.
Okay. And then I thought you said in the plural.
Well, no. It'd be singular, right? No.
Yeah, it's singular.
Singular. So
Because if you go back to the sentence, what is
It.
it? What does the it refer to specifically?
We'll talk about esteem, right? Um, for the kingdom of God is within you.
Yeah. So what
It is the kingdom.
it is the kingdom. There you go. Okay. And kingdom is singular, right?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Very good. So
Okay.
go back to stem then.
Stem is the epsilon. Tense is the present tense. Once again, no voice. Indicative mood, third person, singular, lexical form of I me.
Very good. Okay. Number 17 down here.
17. Aksusin, tus, amartelos, kai te,
Pronounce those the endings as
Amar.
Harmartelus.
amartelus.
Yeah.
Right. Amartelus, kai ta tekna, ice, tain, autain, ecclesian. Okay. They will lead the sinners and the children into the same assembly or church.
Very good. So explain the form of Aksusin.
Aksusin is predictive. So the choice for predictive, imperative, or deliberate, I put predictive.
Okay.
What is the significance of this predictive type of future tense verb? It's the most obvious use.
Okay. It's simply predicting something that's going to happen. But the
it's
first
not an imperative, it's not deliberate. So
right. The first part of that exercise though said explain the form of Aksusin.
Oh, the form.
What is the root of this word, or what would be the vocabulary or lexical form?
That's the ago.
Okay.
So it changed to the x, the xi,
Mm-hmm.
And then you put the I think that's what I'm going at. The ago changes to with a xi or c, and is there anything else that changes on that?
So
there's a future tense, right?
So how'd you end up with the letter psi?
Taking gap
Yeah, you're right.
Gamma out and change it to a C, right?
But you're actually doing something. Because what do you do to signal that it's a future tense? What do you add for future tense? Normally.
There's the sigma.
Okay. So you're combining a gamma and a sigma. So
sigma.
normally you would have og with a sigma following it, but the gamma and the sigma together form that letter xi. So that xi is like a combined form.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, that's what you got going there.
I guess it's in speaking it too difficult. It's easier to say it that way.
Yeah, because it's almost coming out the same way when you try to say the gamma with the sigma following.
Sigma. Yep. Yeah, that's true.
And the rest of it you answered fine. That's good. Okay, so B.
Is ta techna nominative or accusative plural neuter? And I circle accusative plural neuter.
Okay.
How can I be sure? Both the sinners and the children are direct object or limitation of that action who will be led.
Oh, very good answer. Very good answer.
Right?
That's correct. Okay. Good answer. Number C.
What use is autain used in this sentence? And I put it's in the attributive position. How is this word translated according to its use? the same, right?
That's right. And that, so you're bringing some specificity to it. In fact, if you write like that in English anymore, they tell you that it's
Redundant.
unnecessary. It's redundant.
Okay.
They don't like it. But the thing is, sometimes when I'm writing, I sometimes put that in there because there's a point to be made by trying to get it across to somebody. We're talking about the very same thing.
Right.
So even though they don't like that in modern English. So good job. Okay, number 18, whenever you're ready.
A phone, two, prophet two, hetoi mose, hetoi masai,
Itoi Masai.
hetoi masai.
Mhm.
Okay, that's right. Hetoi masai. Hodon en tais cardiais anthropon. So rough is the voice of the prophet. He will prepare a way in the hearts of men. And the final, but the voice of the prophet will prepare a way in the hearts of men.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Now you're going to
Okay,
do
prophet two. It's a part of speech is noun, genitive case, singular number. The function of the sentences describes the voice. And the second declension, lexical form, prophetess, masculine.
Okay. Masculine is right, but it's not. It's what declension did you say?
Second?
It's first declension. This
First?
is declension man. First declension masculine.
Okay. That's right. That's right.
Okay. So what gender in declension is the noun Hadan?
So masculine, first declension, noun.
Okay. And we just corrected that because it's actually, I think we pointed this out because Hadan is also a feminine second declension.
So that's second declension?
Yeah.
Oh, so I have it reversed.
Yeah. So it's
a second declension.
but
Okay.
it's a feminine. I'm
Why
pretty
you raised
sure,
that? I had that.
I'm pretty sure if you go,
It's a feminine?
Yeah. Because I went back and checked myself on this because I thought,
Hadan is it feminine?
I believe it is. Let me look. No, I think it's, let me just look here. Where are we going? 4-8. I think I messed this up and wrote it down. I was looking at the one and I didn't get the other. Because doulos, oh, see, I'm trying to remember. Okay, so let me go back to the beginning here and look at this. Okay.
It's audace, right?
Yeah, it is.
It's feminine. You're right.
So, and I'm trying to go back here. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought I had to thought I checked myself on this one real well just to make sure I had it right, but I want to check. Yeah, because if you go to the vocabulary for 7.1, it's hey hadas, and remember the definite article is what tells you what the gender of the word is.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And in this case, it wasn't there, so I thought. Right, the definite article is the A.
Yeah.
Ada.
But it's
So
it's second declension because it's the O sound ending. So
right. So that's feminine, second declension.
that's right. So I wrote as an answer for that. It says, on what do you base your decision? I wrote that the article is feminine, therefore the noun is also. But the os ending shows it to be a second declension because the second declension or the O class endings. First declension are the A class endings.
So use the first declension ending, right? Or is it
Second declension ending.
section declension?
They're second declension endings because they're the O class. That's why you have on
That's
rather.
right. The lexical form would have a feminine article. That's right.
Okay.
That's the second declension ending.
Yeah. It's a little tricky.
It is.
It is a little tricky. So.
Right. Okay.
Number C there.
Cardiace. Is cardiace dative, locative, or instrumental? Plural feminine. I put it's locative.
Okay.
And the preposition and used of the locative case is used there. So it's with the locative case would make sense.
Yes. Very good.
All right. So number 19.
19.
I gar kata sarka zete melete apothnes kind.
Okay. I
It's hard to say. Apothnes kind.
yeah, I'd say apothneskine. Apothneskine.
Yeah. With the accent.
In part because there's an accent on the
That's over the
Apothneskine.
kind.
Yeah.
Sounds German.
Right. It does.
Doesn't. So, for if according to flesh you live, you plural are about to die.
Mm-hmm.
So, for if you live according to the flesh, you are about to die.
Okay.
That's you being in the plural. And it just says I is a conditional particle that introduces indicative mood verb.
Yeah. And the significance of that is when you eventually get to clauses, when you have a condition has what they call an apodosis and a protasis. The protasis is the first part of a condition, and the apodosis would be the second part of the if this, then this, we'd say. And so in the protasis, or the first part of a condition, the first phrase in the condition, it would be for if, according to flesh, you live. And because zeta is, because that is being used in an indicative mood rather than a subjunctive mood, which we haven't really looked at. In the indicative mood, I assumes it to be true. So the writer, here in this case, Paul, assuming you're living according to the flesh, you are about to die. That's just the way it is.
Would that apply to the men day also?
What? Say
would
what?
that apply to men day use of those two? You know how on one hand it's this.
Oh, on one hand this and one hand that. Yeah. You could maybe say it's kind of comparable to that. The difference is when you use a conditional like this, and you have I with the indicative, you're talking about something it's assumed to be true. Sometimes we translate it since, but the reason they use an if is it's kind of to draw the audience in. If you are living according to the flesh, oh, he's assuming we are. He's trying to really make a punch home, and it draws them in that if you are, they're looking at themselves trying to determine. Then he tells them what the consequence of that is. So just trying to explain that ever since I took Greek in seminary, went off there, when we had I with the indicative, we oftentimes translated it since. And I do that in explaining the text, but I often come back to say we still ought to use an if, but then we ought to have the explanatory if assumed to be true that you are doing this. And the reason for that is there's a reason that the writers are using an if. They're using an I, and it's to draw the audience in with this question like that, to really make them participate in thinking about the statement that Paul is making. So he's not necessarily calling it into question so much as trying to draw the audience in. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
to get them to go,
So,
oh,
because yeah, because
I'm not.
a lot of times when we're doing Bible studies, we get into the I thing. A lot of the teachers I've had have always said it's since.
Right. And I probably will also say that, but I always want to clarify that there's an if there for a reason.
So it
And
still is an if.
right. But it's not an if as if it's a question. It's
If they're not. If like
one of my professors used to illustrate it that, you know, if everybody's getting ready for church on Sunday morning, let's say you're poking around, your mom walks in the room and says, if you're going to church with us, you better get your shoes and coat on. She's not saying, well, if you are, but maybe you're not. She's telling you get your shoes and coat on. Yeah.
Right.
But if is laying responsibility on your back, get yourself going here.
Got it. Yeah,
So,
that's a good way to do it. So that's a good thing to say.
Yeah.
It's not always since. Then. Okay.
Yeah.
It is, but there needs to be an explanation.
And it's going to be it will be if you were to change zeta, if you were to change the mood on zeta, then I would have more of a what traditional sense of if that we would think of. But we'll get to that down the road.
Okay.
And then we have not learned the verb sarx yet.
No.
So they have sarka, and they just go through and break out all of what it is, that it's feminine and so on and so forth, just kind of fill in details. And then they also explained this verb mellow in here. You are about to. So what Bauer says, denoting action that necessarily follows a divine decree, is destined, must, will, or certainly. It's just, it doesn't have to be a divine decree. Mellow can simply be, I'm about to do this. I'm on the verge of this situation. So any comments or questions on that before we do the last one?
No.
Okay, so go ahead with number 20.
Okay, number 20. Kata besetai, ice to topus, amartias kai hesai, anthropus, kata bine, sun auto. So he will go down into the places of sin, and he will persuade men to go down with him.
Okay.
All right. 28. Is this a compound or a complex sentence? I put compound, and I based that answer on two independent clauses joined by that according conjunction kai.
Excellent. B
is amartias, genitive singular formal feminine, ablative singular feminine, or accusative plural feminine. I put genitive singular feminine. And again, basing that on amartias describes the places, therefore a genitive case. This is a description.
Very good.
First declension ending indicates singular feminine.
Very good. All righty. Okay, then.
Robin, if you're hearing this, we're missing you.
Especially Joe, since he's having to answer all the questions.
Yeah.
So.
But that's okay.
Maybe sometime we can work that out, that we can all be on here again. So. Okay, so we will try. We will try perhaps next. I'm trying to think. Maybe next Monday.
Okay.
Unless your schedule has changed.
Well, it won't start till March or till May 8th anyway.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's why when you mentioned about the 19th, I know where I'll be. So
yeah. So maybe we can try next Monday. We can try doing this online, and we'll move into chapter 15.
Or did you want to schedule it with Robin to get started?
Well, we can try, see if she can. Thing is, I'm pretty sure they're going to be on vacation then. So.
Oh. Okay.
So.
Right.
I stopped sharing that simply because I don't know if she